To say the global pandemic has impacted consumer behavior would be an understatement. Perhaps the most notable change is how they consume content. With more people staying safe indoors, there's less need for traditional media formats such as out-of-home advertising. As a result, online media is taking its place as an increase in spend for the format shows. Today, we're going to talk to Kerri Accardi. She's the founder and CEO of 420 Media. This is important because there's a lot of avenues that aren't available to the cannabis industry. Facebook is purging people, Twitter's shadow banning, Instagram and Facebook are just deleting accounts. All that much more important. Welcome back to The Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your cannabis business podcast. So with an advertising economy worth $239 billion in 2019, it's safe to say that the U.S. is home to some of the biggest advertising spenders on the planet. However, the pandemic has resulted in the major upheaval of advertising spend, and it's unlikely to recover for some time. Interestingly, changes in advertising spend tend to fall closely in step with broader economic growth. So in fact, that for every 1% increase in US GDP, there's a 4.4 rise in advertising that occurs in tandem. Total advertising spend in the U.S. is estimated this year to see a brutal decline of almost 13% and is unlikely to return to previous levels for a number of years. But despite marketers trying to optimize their media strategy or stripping back their budgeting entirely, many across the world are ramping up their spend on advertising to promote various messages, including Kerri Accardi and her clients, which is why we brought her on board because she's got some interesting stuff going on. Kerri, thanks for being back on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Josh. Love coming on here.
So tell us a little bit about what you've got going on with 420 Media. Lots of things moving and shaking.
Lots of things moving and shaking, actually. So number one, just to stick with it, 420 Media is our agency, and we're currently in the process of launching a TV channel, which is a different company. So just for clarity as we talk through this. So 420 Media just added self-service advertising portals for the cannabis and CBD industry. So now they can log in, they can come onto our website, 420media.us. It's under self-service platform, I believe, and you can book your own billboards, book your own OTT commercials, as well as audio. And so you can get really targeted through zip codes, through budgets, and get real transparency. So I know that's one of the biggest issues in this industry is transparency and, where's my money going and whatnot. And so I felt like while we will help our clients as well, they don't have to do self-service. We wanted to empower the industry and other agencies and marketers to really know that, yes, you can actually, in fact, book OTT commercials, audio commercials, and billboards, including Times Square billboard. And these are really much more cost effective than I think people realize, and overall effective than I think people realize. So that's our add-on in 420 Media. We're also getting ready to go into our third season of Trailblazers in Cannabis, and that's with David Rhines and the MJ News Network, as well as Janet Vasquez from MJ Reporter, I believe is her company, as well as JVPR.
So just to clarify, OTT is over the top. Those are platforms like YouTube, which are, either shadow banning or just purging outright. So you're kind of helping people not only with billboards, but, YouTube and everything in between.
Yeah, no, this is actually, so we do have YouTube as well, and we have a number of others. I'll go through the list, but OTT is streaming television. So most outlets right now, people are streaming. So it's like Crackle. There's different, Hulu's doing their own advertising, so we're not running through them, but there's other mediums that are running it through Roku. I'm not sure if it's Apple. I have to go through my exact list, so I don't want to overstate, but it's OTT streaming TV, targeted based on what your demographic is, where your location is, and really like those shows that people are watching that you're trying to reach. And so if someone's watching on their mobile phone, your commercial's coming through there. And they usually, what they sell those usually is through what they call a CPM, which is a advertising cost. So it stands for cost per milli, but it really means cost per 1,000 eyeballs. And so if a CPM rate is $10, I know I'm paying $10 to reach 1,000 eyeballs. And so there's an actual calculator online that people can figure out based on what their budget is and how many people they're trying to reach.
So that's a quantifiable way for people to know that they're getting value, especially when they can't just do it themselves because so many platforms aren't available for cannabis companies.
Right. Right. And it's a standardized cost. And so in any industry, this is what they're using. Now they also have cost per click, CPC. They're also using cost per play. So if we're airing a Talking Hedge commercial in Seattle, and we want to air maybe 500 of those or 1,000 of those, there's a certain cost per play on that. And so depending on what the client is, their objective, right? Who are they trying to reach? What is that call to action? And within that legality of reaching the consumer. And so a lot of misinformation is going out right now that you can't advertise, and the sky is falling in, and that's just not the case. It's really just not the case. We have more advertising now than we have ever. There's more opportunities from mainstream as well as industry. There's podcasts like yourself and others that are coming out. And so I think, being honest and clear with where people can go, not just to maybe bring them to your own business, is really important. And so that's where that national looking at it and going, hey, I want to, I'm having an event in Seattle. I know the event is during a certain week, and I want to flood the radio stations, and then I'm going to flood on the OTT, and then maybe I'll geo fence it. And so as people go into certain zip code areas or maybe into a shop, this content will pop up. And so these do exist. We have mobile app advertising as well, the geofencing. I have, not all this is self-serve. So the self-service is through one of our partners, and that's OTT, billboards, and audio. We have many partners in as an agency to help brands reach their clients. And so we have email marketing, which is super cost effective. I think it's like around about $1,500, give or take, to reach 50,000 opt-in email consumers, right? And so if you're opting in to know about alternative health products, or maybe you're researching a disease or something, you're going to be targeted into that email. And so if your product fits that's going to be a good match for you. It's going to be a very cost effective, and then you can retarget them at I think it's a quarter of the price of that. And so I have to look at the specific prices. Like I said, these are partners, but we have the options is the point, and I think that, especially in such a hard year right now, that there's really limited events, if any. People still want to run their business, and there's still consumers looking for this information. And so I think we're coming up on holidays, and it's really important to get it out there.
Yeah, I agree. But for anybody who doesn't understand that and they're kind of pulling back on their expenses, what differentiates you from the competition? What sets you apart? Why should somebody go after you? I already know that you've got some unique and creative solutions to the shadow banning, the purging, the deleting of accounts. But for somebody who's not familiar, maybe you can kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, so for, those are paid advertising. And so as far as 420 media, I think what really helps us stand is we have a lot of skin in the game. We've hit a lot of milestones. We've aired the first commercial during prime time on History, Bravo, and Discovery, Cannabis Education in 2018. We aired again during the Super Bowl in 2019 in the VI in Puerto Rico. I've had multiple television deals. We have 6 years of content right now as well. And so as kind of segue, we're in the process of launching a channel, a dedicated cannabis channel across 4 OTT networks, Roku, Apple TV, Android, Fire Stick, 2 mobile apps, and online. we're going to start with what I call the narrative, which you're in as well, which is, because people don't realize there's a real narrative to cannabis. There's real history behind. There's real people that have risked their lives and livelihoods to put people where they are today in positions to even own a business. And I think it's really important to honor those people and to be truthful, because there's a lot of misinformation going out, and including on like CBD. And so you'll enjoy this. I have a clip of Martin, what's his name? His Project CBD, Martin Lee, on a panel, 2014, Seattle Hemp Fest, talking about this new product that's going to hit the shelves. Okay. Talks about some of it's going to be fake and there's no laws, but people are going to go and put it out. This is really true. And so it gives perspective in 2020 when people think this is new, that this was being said back then. And there was much more being done before that was even being said. Right. And so things like that, we have over 300 people on camera, to camera like this, every color, age, ethnicity, job title in a divisive climate, agreeing on one thing, which is cannabis should be legal and cannabis is medicine. And so if that was all we had, I personally would be totally fine with that. It's not, but that's really powerful. Again, doctors, nurses, patients, mothers, businessmen. So we're launching this channel. We have some inaugural series. We're selling commercial placement in. And so we're treating it like, for this, it's a hybrid. So like cable, you're going to watch a show and there's going to be commercials. So one of our shows, it was with Super Bowl champ Marvin Washington. And it's great. It's really great. Him with nurses and with other athletes and different people, really just taking an insight about the plant. He was in a CBD lab learning how to make CBD. And so to me, when I look at this as someone who came in on a mission and also creatively, is, well, people are watching this show about athletes because they're going to watch it inevitably. And they're talking about the benefits of cannabis with pain, or CBD with pain, or CTE or different ailments. And then it goes to a commercial of a transdermal patch, which most people don't even know what it is. So now they have a context of these two football players or the nurse and the football players talking about the benefits of the plant, cut to a product that you're just putting on your skin, you're not getting high, and can feed your body to I know for me, has gotten me out of pain for up to 32 hours. And so it's, and then for us, it's we put the QR code so people can really just go right to that website and buy it. And so we're going direct to consumer advertising, targeted, because you're not coming to this channel because you're watching a football game. You're coming to a channel because maybe you want to see what the football say after the game. Right. And so in that, I think that's our start. And then we're going into newer series, cooking, growing, business. We've got an incredible team. Emmy Award, advertising award winning. I haven't announced anybody's name yet, so I'm just going to leave it for that for right now. But confidence for me is knowing who our team is, to take, again, the plant and bring it to the mainstream for those people that are looking for these products. Now we're doing one other project. So I just added because I wasn't busy enough. And we are, this is such a cool project, and we'll have to talk after this and get you involved. It's holiday programming. And so we're creating a holiday programming that will air on that, on our channel. And that will include Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, cannabis, hemp, CBD. We have some people that will benefit from donations from, we have Santa, Mrs. Claus. We have from millennials to senior on the back team who's involved in this. So it's really turned into like this little idea has kind of expanded now. And so that's something we'll be announcing probably by the end of the week with some media kits and stuff to get people involved, because it's been a rough year. It's been a rough year for people. And I think if we can, end it strong and bring this out to the people seeking it anyway. And, it's okay if it's not MJ BizCon. They can see it on their mobile. They can watch it through different podcasts or magazines and stuff. And then next year we can go back to events.
So this just isn't kind of people that are getting high on TV. You have historical, that remaining topical information from at least 6 years ago, as well as, like you said, Marvin Washington, some athletes talking about how to continue with an active cannabis lifestyle, all the way down to, I would imagine you probably have some nurses on a panel somewhere discussing that. So is this, I mean, would you make the analogy to like a Netflix or a Disney, where you can go on and it's not just, romance or comedy? These are, you have a ton of content that fits across all genres and appeals to a wide audience. Is that a fair comparison to like Netflix of cannabis?
Yeah, it's not. I would say it's fair, yes, in the content. I would say we're more like a cable of cannabis. So, if you and your wife, you could watch a business show, your wife might want to watch a home cooking show or a history show, or, so there are different, there's different programming, there's different series, and it's definitely targeted across the board from millennial to senior and everything in between. We have a cool series with a lot of our colleagues. It's called Faces of Cannabis. So it's 32 or 34 pioneers in cannabis sharing their stories and insights into the industry. It was filmed green screen. My DP was from the Doctor Show. We had a very high level crew. It's, Stormy Simon, Wanda James, Meg Sanders, to little Landon Riddle, who's 7 years cancer free, 9 years old, Javier Hasse, Deborah Borchardt, ton of people, and a ton of we have 4 athletes. One's an Olympic athlete too. I mean, like, really diverse and dynamic and insightful. And so it's not an action movie, right? You're not coming to watch an action movie, but if you want to understand the plant and you want to understand some people that have been pioneering, and then to hear them firsthand, I think it's going to be really insightful. And so even our other programming, it's not very panel. We have some panels because we filmed at events, but I would say it's definitely more series orientated with a host and stuff like that in different programming. And so, yeah, definitely on like, I guess I'm trying to think of a TV, because Netflix doesn't have commercials. We have commercials. And
they have native advertising where Coca-Cola will pay them to have like a product in a show, but they don't really cut.
Right. And we'll have that too in our upcoming series. So like when we put together the treatment for the grow show, or for the cooking show, and, episodically everything's laid out. Well, people that sell grow equipment and stuff are looking for exposure. So this is going to be a really perfect fit for them to expose their lights, their nutrients, their seeds, in a manner that's just not been done on a professional level and high level. I mean, just high level TV. So it's not, these aren't students. They're really Emmy award winning, people that have started networks before. This is super high level. And as we go in, there'll be different product placement and different sponsorship and, graphic and where you can like in advertising. It's really cool. I don't want to say too much because I don't know how much I'm supposed to say, but it's it's game changing. And it's something for me, as someone who left on a mission to educate the world from New York, and as much as I've seen and as many people as I personally know in cannabis, the majority of people across the country do not know about cannabis. They do not know about the endocannabinoid system. They do not know about the products exist. There's a stigma that they're still fighting. And I believe that we can change that with alliance and working with people that are really experts in what they do, and sharing that in a way that people can digest it. And like our cooking shows are going to be real cooking shows to teach. It's not a competition show. Like Netflix has cool shows, but they're competition. We're not there yet. Our audience is, maybe they'll be part of the competition show at some point, but we want to teach them and feed them. Everyone in California can grow, and if you can grow, that means you can make food. So how do you do that? And really taking them through the steps in a professional way that's music and graphics and entertaining, so we don't lose the audience. And then there's a way to connect the brands and the products and services to the people looking for them.
And so just to clarify, this isn't something where you're taking old footage and then just regurgitating it. You're taking some content that you've accumulated over 6 years that's still relevant and topical to this day. In addition, you're filming new stuff. And so how does that work with the pandemic when so many other production studios have had to shut down? That's a challenge in and of itself. How are you going to get by with that? Is it going to be, Zoom and virtual, or how do you get through the double challenge of cannabis and pandemic?
Yeah, we're working through it. A lot of places are opening back up for shooting actually now, and we can keep things tight. What looks like, for right now, we're going into production pretty soon on our holiday programming, which we'll be shooting live, and it looks to be 3 to 5 states. So we're definitely not letting the pandemic stop us, but working within caution. I'm traveling. I've been traveling for months now. And so we're going to do the best we can. We're going to follow the rules, and we're going to limit it. We're definitely not going to have big full shoots. If this wasn't pandemic, we would have probably had this shoot and ended in a really big event. That's not going to happen. But no, on the Zoom, this is a real channel. This is for mainstream. This is a global. And as much as I love and respect using Zoom, I don't think I don't think it fits quite what we're trying to do.
Yeah, sounds right. But at the same time, you've got a lot of different states with different rules. CBD, for example, although federally legal to some degree, has 12 states that have their own set of laws. And so when going after advertisers, you're trying to obviously target companies with specific folks. How do you go about looking at the various states and determining the right advertisers for each segment or each platform that you're on? What's kind of the thought process on how you get advertisers to the right folks?
Well, I think that through 420, there's actual hard rules in advertising, and so the best way to compare is to like a pharmaceutical commercial. You don't see, when you watch a commercial, them throwing pills down your throat or stabbing you with needles, right? You see people running on the beach, playing with the dog, and you hear a voiceover. And even in that voiceover, you hear some horrible things, right? And so it's being creative.
Spontaneous combustion or whatever the side effects are, where a Corona commercial, you'll never see anybody drinking the Corona.
Right. So the way we will work around that is actually by just following the rules and being creative. There's a lot of states that are open looking for exposure. And so to have a dedicated cannabis channel in the level that we're doing, I think will bring a lot of exposure. And then in addition, if they want to get localized within that, we can work with our other OTT nets and billboards and other advertising avenues to localize. So if someone's in Chicago, the dispensary in Chicago, and they're advertising in, let's say, Marv's show or Faces, and they obviously are going to get exposure on our channel because, well, number one, we're permanently, the first 3 series, we are selling commercials limited, and they're being permanently placed into the series as if they were part of it. And so the lifetime value of that in itself is pretty strong, right? Football players, CBD brand for athletes on the first channel that's dedicated in this way. There's other channels, but dedicated in a very educational to the mainstream format. And then they're permanently placed in there. There's a lot of, they get a commercial. Most don't even have commercials. So you get a commercial, that's asset 1. You get a commercial placed in the episode, asset 2. You can use that for your pitch decks. You can use that for your website. You can reuse it and repurpose it, right? So if someone in Chicago, again, if I was a dispenser, I'm working with a dispensary in Chicago that got placement in our one of our shows, I would then get some other localized news, whether industry or outward, and let them know, hey, we're in the first series with a Super Bowl champ who also happened to have a lawsuit going to the Supreme Court up until last week, right? And so there's exposure in that, right? And then there's what the additional PR is when ESPN says, oh, wow, there's a new channel and a new host by a football player for cannabis, right? And so there's a lot of exposure. And so basically anyone that's coming in, we're selling 100. Our first 100 commercials, kind of where we're at right now with 3 series. And that's to really come together in alliance. It's super cost effective for what people are getting. And then all the PR that gets on top of that. And then they're up on the channel for a year. So, I mean, it's just no brainer to me.
What would you say to people who say that that's either not affordable or they're not going to get the target market that they desire? You talked about value and affordability. How do you convince people that it's worth it?
Well, I mean, our prices are actually just really affordable. I mean, when I look at the comparables of even an event or virtual, so I think our pricing starts at 5,500, 7,500 around. It's really up to the business, Josh. You know, I'm past the point of trying to convince people they need to advertise, right? I'm now in this game for a while. We've hit the milestones. We have a very strong team. And so I feel like it's a way out for brands. You know, I have a sales team. This is why I'm not the sales team, but what's the value of versus the 50 other athlete creams, right? Or would you want your grandmother to tweet it? Is that getting you the ROI? And so I don't know for each business. I think it's really becomes individual. But I know that if you're if you have a business and you're trying to reach an audience, how are you reaching them? And then when you look at what is it costing you to try to reach them, I feel like just really on a the actual value of what we're giving is affordable. Our next level will go CPM. And so you just we'll do a $10, $20 CPM rate. You'll come in, you'll say, okay, here's $5,000, and you'll see 500,000 views, and then hasta la vista, you know, the next one comes in. Whereas now someone is there, you're there forever. And so that's really important. You're trying to raise money, you're putting it on your website, you're trying to get exposure, you know, and then we have a lot of media colleagues that a lot is behind this. And so I think, you know, to answer your question, it's people need to look at their own business and objectives and how they're going to get there. And then what's it going to cost? And then if it makes sense, like for me, if I go, well, if it's up for a year and I'm getting this and I'm getting this and I'm getting this, I could divide numbers and go, oh, wow. You know, I may have divided numbers, which is why I know I'm giving it away.
What's one of the programs that you're most excited about? There's a lot of different things that you've created over the years, a lot of things that I've seen, but what is one of those series or shows that you're most excited about, either ones that you've already created that you're in post-production or ones that you're about to create?
Well, I'm really excited just to get most out, to be honest. Our footage is really phenomenal. I think for me, maybe the fun one will be I have a documentary being edited for the deal we had with CBS and how they reneged on our agreement.
Mm.
And so I'm a truther. And my friends, even our friends recently, I had friends recently die. I got into this because my aunt died. I've dealt with a lot of stuff. And so I'm just excited for the audience to watch the content. And so like I've already put it on TV for people to see, and I've watched people cry. That makes me happy, crazy, because I know it's affecting them. And then when I go look through raw footage, and I'm like, wow, I forgot we had Sue Sisley with a line of veterans behind her talking about, opioids and what this has done to veterans. And then watch Michael Crowitz get up there. Like, that's really cool to me too. The series with the big guys like Marv Washington and Fifth Quarter, it's awesome. I mean, it's like watching football players like just delve into this and really just engage. As you know some athletes yourself, and so like then the nurses too. The nurses I watch at and they talk about the endocannabinoid system and our receptors and methods of ingesting and dosing, and I just like watch it and I literally just think, wow, what if my aunt would have had access to all this information from all these different people, and different ages and colors and ethnicities and job titles, and they all agree on the plan. And it's pretty fascinating to me. And so it's weird. Someone's asked me that question before, and it's like, I'm excited about everything, but I'm excited for those patients and for those businesses or for those, calls that say, holy moly, that video we saw saved somebody's life, or that triggered us to go buy a medicine that we never would have done. Right. And so that's the kind of stuff that makes me know this is the right thing we're doing, and know that we align with the right experts to put it out. It's not me on camera, that would be weird. So putting, experts out that are sharing this information, it's going to be profound. It's going to be profound. And the amount of content, Josh, the amount of content we have, it's unbelievable. I've like 20 terabytes of content, and majority is usable, because even if it was older, the way it's edited in that format, like Ethan Nadelman from DPA, Drug Policy Alliance, talking about George Soros, talking about cannabis legislation, and that we're not there yet, as well as even Bob Hoban. I don't even know if Bob Hoban knows he's on. So many people don't even know they're part of this, because I don't film. It's not me with the camera. It's only me when I'm taking selfies. But I have had crews in a lot of places. And so I think that's where people are going to go, whoa, and wow. And I mean,
that's why the Zoom model doesn't work, is because you got professional videographers and film people out there doing it. And it's not the same interaction. You want to make it more traditional and professional, something that people are more used to seeing on TV, videos, movies, etc. You're normalizing cannabis and making it in a format that's accessible, attainable, affordable, and most companies, they can't even make a post. You can't, like I said, you can't even post on Twitter or LinkedIn. Well, LinkedIn's okay, but YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, you're getting shut down. And so you're actually providing a legitimate platform for people. For those that are in the industry that want to participate, you're looking for the first 100 commercials for advertisers? What about for people that have something to say? Is there still an opportunity in 2021 to get involved?
Yeah, so we're doing our holiday programming next. So I'm actually putting that together now, and I'm looking at the options if we want to get anyone that has something to say also to kind of contribute, because that's like an alliance project. It's a fun alliance. For 2021, yeah, definitely. We'll be looking for different experts. We'll be looking for different people to get involved. I'll put more information about that in the future. Right now, we need to stay focused because we're in a time frame here, and so it's for brands. It's for the brands that want to, come out here, or they have a commercial. If they have a commercial already, they're saying what they want. So we're selling 30s, or placement of a 30. Definitely we'll be taking in more people in the future. I'll be putting castings out, both industry and outside, because we have to make sure no matter what information we're putting out that it's proper. Otherwise, we're no better than Reefer Madness. So yes, the answer is yes, but not at this precise moment. So right at the precise moment, I have a sales team out there. We have 25. I limited 25 spots in Marvin's series, 5th quarter, 25 in Nurse Talk, 50 in Faces of Cannabis, and that's it. We're gonna lock it up. It's a special. It's like a part. I tell people it's a party. It's like the Reefer Madness No More party. You got to be there. Do you want the VIP ticket or you want general admission? Don't want to miss this party. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. And so I have a great sales team out there. I have a guy named Chris Faglio doing some work with us, Ronnie Everett, and I'm bringing in a couple more people. I don't want to say their names until we're locked up in our paperwork, but it's all really good. And we're going to be selling placement in our holiday programming, which is going to be really cool as well, because that's a variety show. It's like music, comedy, holidays. It's literally meant for people to watch it. They'll learn something. Of course, we'll incorporate the plant, but it's feel good. It's been a rough year for people. It's been a really rough year. And and then the 3 series we have that we're selling commercial placement. And then we have a ton of other series that are on the site right now that will be coming out. Maybe we'll sell placement in the future. I haven't decided yet. We're going through that. But we have a show about a kid named Colton Turner that had Crohn's disease. He was a medical refugee. We have Seattle Hemp Fest. And Viv McPeak is going to be working with us to voice over on that series, and that's the one you're going to be part of, and it's awesome. I mean, it's awesome. Keith Strop, Rick Cusick, Farmer Tom, Sue Sicily, Mike Crowitz, Viv McPeak, Dana Rohrbacher. I got Dana Rohrbacher holding a beer like this, talking about prohibition and blah blah blah. Good stuff. But also about what we're going to allow the government. And so, the different doctors and, people involved here really gives the best. And then what we're doing in the future is, what's needed, right? So people need to know what's going on in daily, what's going on in their local markets. Cooking doesn't change state to state. So that will go on and it will continue from the basics all the way up to potential competition shows, maybe that we let people submit to, but we're going, if you watch television right now on cable or any of those, business, history, science, doctors, reality, that's what we have on deck. And the narrative is what I call the previously recorded content. That's our infrastructure. Why am I going to come to this channel? Right. And, I know people are going to come to the channel at least once, inevitably, based on what we're doing in numbers. It's a numbers game. But the whole goal is they have to keep coming back, right? And so we have to keep feeding them valuable content, valuable information. And, if they're coming to a show, and they're going to start a business, Josh, and they get to see even point of sale systems or other products, packaging, things that they're all going to need. We're not even legal yet. We're literally not even legal yet. And I think that that's where, we're going to come in strong, and that's our goal. That's our intention. And the people behind are pretty strong, not, industry as well.
Yeah, 2020 has been a dumpster fire so far, and everyone's looking for kind of feel good content, whether it's funny cat videos. Although you're still seeing a lot of drama with an election year, the Facebook is half drama and half cat videos, and so I expect that the Super Bowl commercials will be just that, feel good and whatever else. Do you foresee a cannabis being on a Super Bowl commercial anytime soon?
Well, I say we were in the VI, and it was cool to see that, the football game with the commercial. As far as the states, I think that, it comes
So
down.
just to clarify, the Virgin Islands aired it, but the U.S. did not?
Well, it is the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Mainland.
But the mainland did not. Correct. And in Puerto Rico. And we have it. You didn't see it? Did you see that video? I have to send that to you.
Yeah. I did, yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't, and because there's different rules. And so different owners, different stations, and then you got to go through the FCC. And so there's a lot of different reasons I can say, Josh. I'm not going to, because
save that for the documentary, I guess. Before we wrap this up, is there any last words that we didn't talk about, or anything that you want to mention before we get some contact information from you?
Just that I think that, everyone should definitely stay in the game. This is Q4, go out strong. People are really, really, really seeking good products. And so if you have a really good product, you're the ones that need to invest in marketing and advertising, because otherwise there's no choice but to take the others who are paying for the advertising. And it might not be the best products. And so I encourage people to say, hey, and take it seriously, take marketing very seriously, as serious as you take your sales, because they work hand in hand. And we're just starting here. We're literally starting. There's been a lot of misinformation that's been coming out over the past few years. A lot of good, but a lot of misinformation. And you can see it in the business. You can see it in the public markets. We can see it in the MedMens and, the businesses like that. And so now I feel like stand up. Let's stand up. Let's
not leave Ignite out of it. We'll throw them in the dumpster as well with Dan Blazarian.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And those are the same kind of people, right? It's like super egocentric, don't give a rat's ass about the plant, don't know about the plant. It's money, money, money. And listen, I'm all for people making money. We live in a country, you need it to live and to eat. But you can make money and have integrity. You can make money and have social purpose. You can make money. Actually, we're donating on our channel to a few nonprofits that are Lee 411 is involved. We have Dan Hera, Jack Hera's son is involved in two, both. The Emperor Wears No Clothes will be coming into one of our programs early on, and then the Jack brand. And so that was a big deal for me to just have that support from OG, right? To really where we're putting this information out. And people should know who Jack Hera is. Mm-hmm. And so this is the narrative, right? And I think it's really empowering content people are going to have. And they're going to feel smarter after they watch the nurses talk about endocannabinoid system, or moms talking about why zip code matters for their child's medicine. Very serious stuff. And so I encourage people, if you have products that are going to help kids or help businesses or help me or help others, step up, come in. If it's not with us, go with with your show. We'll put the content out there, put it out there with integrity. So that's kind of how I feel. And to my colleague marketers, stop saying that there is nowhere to advertise. It's incorrect. And I would rather my colleagues call me so I can give them some insight, and they can use our self-service advertising or something else. We work in alliance. I don't look at this industry as a competition. Anyone who's ever called me their competition, I've laughed at. They're not even in the same game as me. This is about getting the education out to the world, period. So the competition I have right now is FCC, FDA, banking, everyone blocking this information. So if God forbid I ended up in a hospital, I would be able to choose cannabis as my medicine. So that's I think the differentiator. Going back to the first question you said, what makes us different is we actually care. We actually care. We're going to take your money because this is a business, and we have to put money out to create business, and everyone needs to understand that. And when you do and you budget properly, the money you put out, when you do it right, comes back tenfold, 20-fold, 100-fold. And so that's what we're hedging a bet on with our channel. And that's what I encourage people, Josh. And I've been consistent forever in this. And so it's funny. It's even funny to think in 2020 compared to 2014, people would still think they didn't have to advertise or market in some capacity.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. But for those that do, for those that understand the value, for those that know what they're going to be getting out of it, that know that it's not free, but affordable and absolutely worth it, how can they get a hold of you? What's some contact information for either marketing and brands and people that have a message that they want to get out to get onto maybe, season 2 in 2021 or whatever it is? How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah. My email. So full name is Kerri Accardi. Email is Kerri at 420media, media.us. Our website is 420media.us. Phone number is 425-420-0585. And please, I hug all of those that want to come in, because that's what this is about, and coming together is really where that next level comes. And you don't have to worry about those corporations or others that don't know coming in, working together. Mm-hmm. And so please reach out to me. And we'll be holding castings and asking for stories down the road, or offering all sorts of other sponsorship opportunities and placement. So I'm so happy that we got to talk today.
Yeah, so people can check out 420media.us and see what's available, as well as getting a hold of you and checking out some new content.
And a new cannabischannel.com is where we're holding our information right now. It's not the name of the channel or the actual site, but it's to shows some of our series, some of the advertising opportunities, behind the scenes photos and stuff like that. So that's a new cannabischannel.com.
Okay. And we'll try to include all of those links in the show note as well. All right. I want to thank my guest, Kerri Accardi, the founder and CEO of 420 Media. Thanks for being back on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.